Okay, we are live. Oh, gee, I'm 6 minutes late. Hold on a second. And I'm going to talk about that being late too. Theme song. Cue up theme song.
Oh, it's time to get real. Oh, yeah. It's a new experience. Spirituality. Yeah, keep your ears open for this one. Spirituality. You got a question for RLN? Spirituality. Yeah, it's time to get some answers, baby. Spirituality. Oh, now we getting real. Getting real. Spirituality. Yeah, time to get down. Yeah, you gonna feel good now. Real good. Time to get real.
Okay. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Reality Spirituality. I'm your global happiness specialist, inner peace practitioner, oracle, mother of one, Reiki practitioner, but most importantly, a student, an ongoing student. And this class is never over. Happiness specialist. What the hell does she? Let me just give you my definition of happiness. I define happiness as the ability to maintain and sustain an energy of personal vibration of contentment, regardless of what happens and regardless of what doesn't happen. Happiness, the good news is happiness is a practiced skill, just like any other skill, from speaking to now we have the NBA championships, to being a professional athlete or even a collegiate athlete, a musician, a chef, a painter, a landscaper. It's a practice. And what do you practice? Thanks for asking. You practice letting go of the programming, of all of the programming that we all received. It started in the womb, but especially as a young child, probably up to the age of, listen, ongoing, we're still getting programmed. And the happiness, and when I say happiness, I'm talking about an energy of contentment, an energy of peace. And it has nothing to do with the story. It has nothing to do with your circumstances. It has nothing to do with what's happening. It has nothing to do with anything external. How do you maintain that vibration of contentment regardless of what happens? And that's what I'm talking about. And when I say happiness specialist, listen, don't tell anybody, but I've been practicing. When I say happiness, inner peace, contentment is a practice skill. I've been practicing for over 45 years. So I do consider myself the global expert on the topic, and still practicing. And what do you practice? I already talked about it. Letting go, eliminating the programming. And in my latest book, Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth, it's a international bestseller and an Amazon bestseller. We already know this, the formula for that, but it's on Amazon. And in this book, I list 56 programmed behaviors that subtract from happiness, levels 1, 2, and 3. And today's topic is, you want to be happier? Eliminate all expectations, because having any expectations subtracts from. I don't know. I'm so glad that I'm having issues with this mic muting and unmuting. Anyway, we're having a really, really mind-blowing heat spell in Nevada. Okay, so hopefully, yeah, I'm still alive. When I said 56 program behaviors, 56, and one of them is having expectations. And today's topic is, want to be happier? Eliminate all expectations. And when I say expectations, I'm talking about even expecting someone to call, someone to text, expecting the plan to go perfectly. You all have experienced this attachment to an outcome, attachment to a plan, attachment to an ending, attachment to an expectation. And in fact, let me just share a personal story. I live in a elderly community, 55 plus community. And last week, or no, it was 2 weeks ago, one of the houses here in this community, there's probably a little over 7,500 houses here. One of the houses burned down. Let me see if I can get the photos on here. Burned down to a crisp, everything. So these people had a home, cars, and if it wasn't for their neighbors banging on their door to get out, your house is on fire, who knows what would have happened. And they left with only what they were wearing. No clothes, no shoes, pajamas, no socks. They ran out of that house. Let me see if I have it here, if I can show you the picture. I know I have it. Oh, you can see this. Can you see this? Straighten it out. Burned down. So when I talk about expectations, not even expecting your house or wherever you live to be available. I know that's more of the extreme, but the practice is real. And the more you practice eliminating these programs of attachment, these programs of having an expectation of others and of self even expecting anyone to look at this show. The expectations have to be eliminated. It's not an easy practice. Letting go of expectations is not easy. But if you do value, and when I say value, on a scale from 1 to 10, how important is happiness in your life? On a scale from 1 to 10, only you can answer that question. And when I say value happiness, value this energy of contentment, value peace, it has to be number 1, not number 2, not number 3. And I contend that, especially for people saying that they want to serve the world in some way, or serve their family, or serve the better good of humanity, it starts with the person in the mirror. It starts with, what are you emitting? What is your vibration? I mean, this up and down, this, you know what I'm talking about, not up and down, but this energy like this. How peaceful is that? The more peaceful you can vibrate, the more peace you are contributing to the planet. You are contributing whatever you are vibrating, whatever your personal vibration is. That's your contribution. It's just like giving to charity. And so you can change the world without even leaving the house. It depends on what you're vibrating. Okay, so let's get to today's stuff. Well, before I do that, let me just share this, because at the beginning of the show, I have a lot of new listeners, new audience members. So I just want to give a little introduction. Happiness is a practice skill. Contentment, inner peace is a practice skill. But what do you practice? You practice eliminating and putting a light on, a spotlight on all of the programming, because it's not the event that you're suffering from. It's the story, it's the program story that is attached to the event. When you practice living in a state of neutrality, and when I mean neutrality, I mean staying neutral, being neutral, staying neutral to every experience. When you practice living in a state of neutrality, this judgment of this is a good day, this is a bad day. There's no such thing as a good day or a bad day. That's a judgment. All judgments subtract from happiness. But let me get a little bit more detailed. There's a very famous study, you can Google it. It's called The 5 Most Common Regrets of the Dying. So it was done by a hospice nurse, and I share this at the beginning of every show. It was done by a hospice nurse. You can Google it. It's called The 5 Most Common Regrets of the Dying. And so this, her name is Bronnie Ware, B-R-O-N-N-I-E, Ware, W-A-R-E. So she asked her patients who had days to live, weeks to live, months to live, what are your 5 biggest regrets? And these same regrets kept coming up over and over and over again. You want to know what they are? Thanks for asking. Number 1, I wish I pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Look at that, expectations already. I wish I would have pursued my dreams and aspirations and not the life others expected of me. Number 2, I wish I didn't work so hard. Shout out to all my workaholics. Number 3, I wish I had the courage to express my feelings and speak my mind. Number 4, I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Of course, sometimes we outgrow people. Nothing wrong with them, nothing wrong with you. It's just time. Somebody is in my life for a season, and that season has a reason, and then they're gone. Number 5, I wish I would have let myself be happier. And that's where I come in. When I say happiness, it's about what am I rooted in as a human, as a person, as this Rebecca Norrington entity? What identity? What am I rooted in? And the answer is the energy of contentment, the energy of peace, the rooting in that energy, regardless of what life throws at you. Life is going to go here, up and down. And so even, let's see, hold on a second. I wrote something out. It was about turbulence. That's right. This life is a turbulent. There's always some kind of storm. There's always some kind of turbulence. There's always some kind of rocky road. That's just part of living. That's just part of this human experience. But the challenge comes when the turbulence hits. And am I attaching a story to my feelings? In fact, quite frankly, don't tell anybody, but I don't even label emotions anymore. I just say that I'm human and I'm feeling, labeling emotions, sad, angry, what's the other one? Lonely, anxious. I don't even label the emotions. That's out there. And when I say don't label them, my point is, I feel everything that everyone else feels. And it's, number 1, it is a temporary moment. It is a temporary period. It is a temporary time. Even if it lasts an afternoon, even if it lasts a week, even if it lasts an hour, even if it lasts for 5 minutes. The turbulence is, hold on a second. The turbulence is going to hit. But I will be damned if I attach a story as to why. One of my favorite quotes from Guy Finley, it's spelled Guyfinley. He says, the feel is real.
but the why is a lie. The feel is real, but the why is a lie. And so feeling all the emotions without labeling them and just letting everything pass. It's kind of like having a kidney stone. In fact, one of my friends' husband has a kidney stone, and it's so small. The doctor said it's going to have to pass naturally. It's just like waiting for a kidney stone to pass. It is going to pass. And the practice comes from, number one, practice eliminating that resistance to the moment, that resistance to the feeling. Practice eliminating having a preference. I prefer to feel like this. Practice letting go of what the mind and the ego says, oh, this is uncomfortable. Practice, because the programming says, well, this feels uncomfortable. Practice switching it up. In fact, doing a whole backflip. Those moments that are uncomfortable, you can switch it. You can scratch that. You can practice switching it. And those most uncomfortable moments, you know the ones I'm talking about, the ones that the mind says, oh, I don't want to feel this. Practice knowing and trusting that each time that happens, there is going to be a rainbow. There is going to be a pot of gold rainbow, a pot of gold at the end of that rainbow, a pot of gold, and I use that, figuratively, a rainbow at the end of that emotion. And there is a purpose for all of the uncomfortable feelings. There is a purpose for all of the emotions that don't feel as nice as those yay. There is a purpose for them. Today's topic is expect nothing. I don't even expect expect to have any views. Expect nothing. The reason for this show, the reason for this conversation has nothing to do with numbers or likes or views. It is just what the universe has gifted me with to share with anyone that is interested in knowing the truth about this thing called happiness, which is, it is a practice. Let's get to today's topic. When I say you want to be happier, when I've been teaching the Truth About Happiness classes for over 15 years. I've taught the classes in California, in Oregon, and now I'm in Nevada. And it's the same experience. It's the same thing. When I say, who wants to be happier? And people sign up for the class, of course. It's called The Truth About Happiness. They sign up for the class for one reason: want to be happier. And that's one of the 5 most common regrets of the dying is, I wish I would have been happier. So when you sign up and I want to be happier. Yeah, let's go. Yay. Of course I want to experience more happiness. Yay. Who doesn't? Well, there are some that don't. In fact, that's a lesson that I had to learn when I found out that not everybody wants to be happier. That was a nice twist. Thanks, universe, to find out that there are people. In fact, hold on a second. Let me see if I can find that quote. It was a quote from, believe it or not, a really bad movie. And I asked the universe, why do you want me to watch this movie? And here it is. The reason was, let's see, hold on. I have so many quotes. Let me see if I can find it in a quick amount of time. It was about a gentleman who, in the movie, who said happiness hurts. Joy, happiness, laughter, this vibration of contentment causes him pain. I had to learn that not everybody is running around here wanting to be happier, wanting to, oh, here we go, of course. Okay, so it's from the movie Con Air with Nicolas Cage. And Nicolas Cage asked the gentleman, of course, the guy was a murderer and a rapist, but he says he's so filled with anger that moments of levity actually cause him pain, give him headaches. Happiness for that gentleman hurts. And that was something that I had to accept, that not everybody thinks or values or even is committed to or even prioritizes this thing. And when I say happiness, I'm not talking about, oh, now this happened and I'm happy. I'm talking about how to maintain and sustain an energy of contentment. And it is the same answer. It is eliminating the programming. And one of the biggest programs, well, they're all big, but of the 56 programs that subtract from happiness, and this is from my latest book, not to sell anything, but in this book, it's on Amazon, Program for Unhappiness. I list 56 program behaviors, levels 1 through 3, and I believe it's level 2, having expectations. And when I say expectations, I mean any expectations about self, about others, about your loved ones, about your family, about your partners, about the way the world is supposed to unfold. All expectations subtract from that energy of contentment without exception. All expectations are a program. And when I say program, I mean it is a learned behavior. Even expecting someone to love you forever. I mean, I'm going to throw my own example. I have one son. And the practice is to, because he is my son, the program comes with a lot of expectations. Whenever I label someone, mother, son, boyfriend, girlfriend, co-worker, all labels come with expectations attached. If I label you my friend, if I label you my best friend, there comes, unless you are aware and unless you are aware and practice eliminating the expectations that you have for others, this will always, without exception, lead to disappointment. You want to eliminate heartbreak and disappointment for the rest of your life? Guaranteed, as Charles Barkley says, I guarantee it. Eliminating all expectations from your life will eliminate heartbreak and disappointment. And you know the thing about heartbreak and disappointment, it is, number one, comes from expecting, and not only expecting others, but expectations from self. Now, let me back up a little bit, because I get a lot of pushback for a lot of things that I say, a lot of things that I share. And it's really, I get this a lot. Well, it's so hard. And not having expectations is hard. Yes, this work, this practice is not easy. And in fact, it is a road less traveled. That's why I don't have no friends. It is a road less traveled. It is letting go, putting a spotlight in letting go. So let me just share this. Last week, I went to California and I visited my son, doctor's appointments, and I have a couple of friends. Now, I texted them and I said, how about dinner? And I usually make plans on the same day. I never, not too much unless there's a doctor's appointment or I got to get on a plane, but it's usually plans made on the same day. I'm not going to make a plan. Well, let's have lunch on Sunday and it's Wednesday. For me, the practice is to live in the moment, stay in the moment, as opposed to making plans. I'm just saying, this is just my practice. And so the expectation, we did make plans for dinner, but the expectations of that going through or that happening, having dinner, even though it's something simple, I don't expect to see my friends unless I see them. That's how in the moment, that's how this practice works. It is living in the moment, in every moment. And it requires, this is it. And it requires a person to, number one, practice trust beyond blind trust. In other words, so if you're in your favorite car, you're not driving, you're in the passenger seat. The universe is driving, God is driving. The practice of letting your hands off the steering wheel, not just one finger, 2, 3, hands off the steering wheel. And when hands are off the steering wheel, I know, especially for you, for all my control people that are out there that feel this, that have this illusion that they're in control. You ain't in control. No offense. But having this illusion of control and I'm making something happen, what the truth of the matter is, whatever is happening is unfolding, is an intricate plan that is unfolding with perfect timing. And but that takes trust. That takes practicing trust. That takes letting go. And it's not an easy practice. And I have to say that after 45 years, letting go of the steering wheel, letting go and just, okay, universe, just what's the journey going to be today? What's the experience going to be today? Oh, I could write down some things on my list of things to do. But whatever I write down is not going to trump what the universe has planned. And so the practice is to remain open, and the practice is to let go of all expectations, and especially expectations of self. You know, this world says this achieve, accomplish, more, be successful. You know, this. Well, when is a person successful? When does that happen? When does success start? And I say, my practice is success is the ability to live in the present moment. Success is the ability to vibrate an energy of contentment. Success is the ability to let go of programming, let go of judgment, and allow without resistance. Success is the being, you know, I say grateful, but even that is more grateful, but be open to all possibilities at all times. Be open to every possibility and practice being in awe of all of it. What does that mean? That means that at any moment, I can just stare. Oh, this is really crazy. I could stare at a flower, or I could stare at a leaf, or I could stare at a bird, or I can stare at the wind blowing and be at awe and be in awe of just life itself. Be in awe of be in awe of being present. Be in awe of the unfolding of every moment, and the knowing that, wow, I'm just part of an intricate plan. Practice being in awe of that. Well, I talked about the house burning down, one of the neighbors' future, a loved one, children. And that's another thing. Having expectations of other people can feel. And if you claim to love someone, people can feel your expectations. People can feel you're obligating someone. I've shared this before, that either you are a star like our sun, either you are a sun or a star. I'm just going to say star. Either you are a star or you are a planet. A planet needs the sun. Our solar system. In our solar system, these planets, from Mercury, I'm so upset that they let go of Pluto. Can we bring Pluto back? Why is Pluto kicked out of the family? I learned 9 planets. Now there's only 8. I'm throwing in Pluto. I'm actually bring Pluto back. But from Mercury to Pluto, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Saturn, Neptune, all of those planets need the sun. Our sun is a star. Need the sun. But the sun does not need Earth. The sun does not need Mercury. The sun does not need any of these planets. What's my point? Thank you for asking. The point is to be self-contained, scratch that, to practice being self-contained, where there is no need for anyone to fill me up, for anyone to supply anything that I need. The practice is to be self-sustaining. That's with love, that's with acceptance, that's without judgment. It is a practice that is difficult, that is not easy. How about that? There is a practice that is not easy, being self-contained, being the star as opposed to a planet. I want to share this. There was a post, I follow Damon John, and he posted something. I like him because he posts, he posts some inspirational top posts from time to time, and they align with what I share. Not a lot of times is the alignment, because the going back to what is success. Don't tell me success is having a lot of money. Don't tell me success is living your passion. Don't tell me that success has anything to do with achievements, with accomplishments, with titles. It's not even has anything to do with finding someone that your soulmate. Success is, because all of those things can be taken away. All of those things are temporary. And I'll throw this out because, I get this a lot. Find your passion. I used to believe that finding my passion meant that I would be happy. And as far as I'm concerned, Michael Jackson found his passion. Prince found his passion. Robin Williams found his passion. Elvis found his passion. Anthony Bourdain found his passion. Kate Spade. The list goes on and on and on about people that have found their passion. But inside there is there is turmoil. Inside there is a storm. Inside there is no peace or contentment. So finding a passion has nothing to do with what's going on inside. That's just another lie. Can I say lie in a nice way? That's just another lie that has been perpetuated. To find your passion. Well, what happens if you don't have a passion? What happens if you're locked up in a jail cell for 27 years? So finding your passion doesn't have anything to do with internal peace. Finding a passion has nothing to do with contentment. Anyway, let me get back to this. Boy, oh boy, that was a big lead into what I wanted to share. So one of the things that Damon John posted, he was listening to a motivational speaker, and he posted that, and it said, don't educate your children to be rich, educate them to be happy. And this was on Damon's post. And then I commented, after making billions of dollars and creating the Apple products. And so Steve Jobs, you can't talk about changing the world. Steve Jobs with the Apple products, with the iPhone and the iPad and changed the world, changed technology. This man at the end of his life, and I heard he was a real asshole, treated people really mean. This guy at the end of his life had cancer or sick. And after all of his accomplishments, after all of the things that he did, after all of the technology that he brought to the world, at the end of his life, Steve Jobs was able to value what was really important. And it goes back to that 5 most common regrets of the dying. And what he valued at the end of his life was being able to take a walk to the park. After all that he achieved, after the billions of dollars he was worth, meant absolutely nothing toward the end of his life, when he knew there was 1 foot in the grave, when he knew his time was limited on this planet. He valued walking, the ability to walk to the park. And all I'm saying with this show, all I'm sharing is can we value that now? Can we value that before it's too late? In fact, I was talking to one guy. His name is JT Fox. You can Google him. Supposedly he's this global speaker, a motivational speaker. I went to one of his free workshops when he was here in Nevada. And I asked him, and I said, how can I monetize something that no one values until it's too late? And you know what he told me? He said, find something else to sell. And that's all I'm talking about, my dear audience, is to value this thing called happiness, value this energy of contentment, value inner peace, and keep doing what you're doing. But that's number one. The energy of contentment is number one over every other accomplishment. One of my favorite quotes from Abraham Hicks is, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. You cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. And so the practice is to every day be in the moment, and every day value your energy. And what are you emitting? Emitting, not emitting, emitting. What energy are you emitting? I want to share this too. Don't tell me that health is wealth. Health ain't shit. Contentment is wealth. Happiness is wealth. Inner peace is wealth. Don't tell me health is wealth. I'll give you the healthiest person on the planet, and that doesn't guarantee that they're happy. Okay, hold on a second. I want to play this for you. Okay, here we go. Listen to this. Listen to this. Hold on.
Your past has no meaning unless your ego is using it for evidence as to why something. Your past has no meaning unless your past has no meaning. Your past has no meaning unless your past has no meaning unless
Napoleon
your ego
Hill.
is using it for evidence as to why something is not working in your life. That's how the ego survives, by keeping you chained to old stories, replaying memories like warnings, and using pain as proof that you should stop trying. But the truth is, the past is powerless unless you keep breathing life into it. And this is where detachment begins. Detachment is not about becoming cold. It's not about giving up. It's about letting go of control over things you were never meant to control. You see, most people are suffering not because of what's happening now, but because they're still emotionally handcuffed to yesterday, or clinging too tightly to a tomorrow that doesn't exist yet. Detachment means you show up fully, but you stop gripping. You stop letting your peace depend on a person's reaction, a result, or a past failure. When you let go, something powerful happens. You stop being reactive, and you start becoming responsive. You no longer chase closure, validation, or permission. You move from desperation to direction. Think about it. Have you ever lost something only to discover you never needed it? Have you ever held on to someone so tightly only to realize the weight was breaking you? Let go. Let go of timelines, of expectations, of should have been. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much to keep breaking your own spirit. Detachment is not the end of passion. It's the beginning of peace. It's knowing that your value doesn't change just because something didn't go your way. It's trusting the process so deeply, you stop needing constant proof that you're on the right path. And if you're still here, still listening, here's what most never realize. When you master detachment, life starts flowing to you because you're no longer resisting. You're no longer afraid. You've stopped forcing and started allowing, and that's where everything changes. Your past has no meaning unless your ego is using it for evidence as to why something is not working in your life. That's how the ego survives, by keeping you chained to old stories, replaying memories like warnings, and using pain as proof that you should stop trying. But the truth is, the past is powerless unless you keep breathing life into it. And this is where detachment begins. Detachment is not about becoming cold. It's not about giving up. It's about letting go of control over things you were never meant to control. You see, most people are suffering not because of what's happening now, but because they're still emotionally handcuffed to yesterday, or clinging too tightly to a tomorrow that doesn't exist yet. Detachment means you show up fully, but you stop gripping. You stop letting your peace depend on a person's reaction, a result, or a past failure. When you let go, something powerful happens. You stop being reactive, and you start becoming responsive. You no longer chase closure, validation, or permission. You move from desperation to direction. Think about it. Have you ever lost something only to discover you never needed it? Have you ever held on to someone so tightly only to realize the weight was breaking you? Let go. Let go of timelines, of expectations, of should have been. Not because you don't care, but because you care too much to keep breaking your own spirit. Detachment is not the end of passion. It's the beginning of peace. It's knowing that your value doesn't change just because something didn't go your way. It's trusting the process so deeply, you stop needing constant proof that you're on the right path. And if you're still here, still listening, here's what most never realize. When you master detachment, life starts flowing to you because you're no longer resisting. You're no longer afraid. You've stopped forcing and started allowing, and that's where everything changes. Your past has no meaning unless your ego is using it for evidence as to why something is not working.
That was Napoleon Hill. So it's on TikTok, Rise with Napoleon Hill, The Art of Detachment. And it's the same thing he was saying. And this is a practice. But it comes down to, my dear audience, what is important to you? I am in the fourth quarter as far as life goes. Someone told me the other day, is there going to be overtime? I don't think there's overtime. I'm in the fourth quarter. And so this practice of contentment, what is really important, has nothing to do with what was important when I was in my 20s, my 30s, my 40s, my 50s. And in fact, quite frankly, two of the program behaviors is thinking that something is important and something is serious. And I'm here to share that letting go of all program behaviors, having expectations, is not serious, is not that important. Judgments, labeling emotions, resistance, all of those are program behaviors and reactions to life. And at this point, the practice is to respond to life. Respond to it. Respond to life with ease. Respond to life without a story. It's the story, it is the stories that cause the suffering, not life itself. Bam. Let me look at my notes here. There is nothing in this world that can trouble you as much as your own thoughts. Most people believe that suffering comes from the world, from circumstances, from other people, from forces beyond their control. But look closely, and you will find that the storm is not outside. It is within. A thought arises, a fleeting whisper in the wind, but instead of letting the thoughts pass, you grasp it, you hold on to it, you identify with it, you turn it over and over and over again until once what was just a thought becomes a raging sea of emotion. And so you suffer. And so, scratch that, I'm just going to speak for myself. And so I suffer when I hold on to these stories and these thoughts that are just passing clouds. I am not my thoughts. I am not my stories. Not because thoughts and stories are reality, but it's the reason why I suffer is because of what I believe, is because of what I was scratched. And when I say I, it's what the mind believes is reality. And the more I practice distancing myself from the mind and what the mind says I am, the more peace I'm going to experience. When I observe my thoughts without clinging to them, without feeding them, I see them for what they truly are, passing clouds in the sky of awareness. I am not my thoughts. I am the space in which they come and they go. That was by Alan Watts. The truth about thoughts. The secret is, I am not the mind making all the noise. I am the presence listening to the noise, listening to the thoughts, observing the thoughts. This changes everything because when I am the listener, not the thinker, there is only peace to be experienced. And when I say there's only peace to be experienced, that is the ultimate. Health is not wealth. I mean, scratch that. If that's what you believe, that's fine. But peace, contentment, inner peace, happiness, that energy of contentment, that is wealth, at least from this perspective. Well, that's all we have for today's show. Thank you for listening. Reality Spirituality is heard every Sunday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. Every Sunday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. My website is RebeccaNorrington.com. Follow me on Twitter at scratch that. Follow me on X. Follow me on X at RL Norrington. I've got to change that. It's not Twitter, it's X. And look at that. I'm just going to put an X over the Twitter. Follow me on X at RL Norrington. My LinkedIn, you can follow me on LinkedIn. And my Instagram handle is RealitySpirituality. My YouTube channel got a lot of shorts, and I'm really, really happy with the YouTube channel. It's being worked on every single week, and it's moving, it's progressing. My first book, Reality Spirituality, The Truth About Happiness, was published in 2014. And my latest book, Program for Unhappiness, Exposing the Untold Truth. It's an Amazon bestseller, international bestseller, Program for Unhappiness. And in this book, I list 56 program behaviors, and I also list 56 program behaviors that subtract from your happiness. And I also list 25 or 26 behaviors that you can practice that will add to that energy of contentment, what I call happiness. Until next week, my dear audience, I want you to remember who the hell you are. You are a physical extension, having a universal, having a consciousness experience, having a conscious experience. You are conscious energy, which is always evolving, always changing, always growing. Love is patient and love is kind. Be patient and be kind to yourself by accepting every moment, accepting yourself, accepting the process, accepting the unfolding, accepting everything that you experience without judgment. There is no such thing as a bad day. There is no such thing as a good day. It is just an experience without judgment. Remember, you cannot have a happy ending to an unhappy journey. You've been listening to Reality Spirituality Radio with yours truly, Global Happiness Specialist Rebecca L. Norrington. Happiness is a practice skill. Contentment is a practice skill. Inner peace is a practiced skill. And I promise you, the more that you practice, the more peace you're going to find, the more peace you're going to experience. And what is the most important? These accomplishments, I know what the world says. Keep selling, keep going, keep moving. You can do all of that. But do all of that when you're rooted in peace. Do all of that when you're rooted in contentment. Because what you practice is what you're going to experience. Cue up the theme song. One of these days I have an assistant, but it ain't today. Theme song is queued up.
It's real. It's a new experience. Yeah, keep your hands up for this one. You got questions for try to get some answers today. Come on now, we get real. Get down. You know, feel good now.